All week we have been recalling great memories of Alabama, Tennessee. And I've told the story of 2005 and the embarrassing things that I did following this game because I was so excited when Alabama won the game. And I figured might as well get a guy on that was a big part of that game and made that fumble creating back of the end zone play. He went on to play 10 years in the National Football League. He was a University of Alabama player. He was a Super Bowl champion, a 10-year NFL veteran. Roman Harper, welcome back to T-Town, man. I hope you're having an awesome day.
You know what, man? I am. It's pretty cold out here in Seattle, but it's good, man. I'm doing well. Thank you. What a great introduction. Thank you as well.
Man.
11 years in the NFL.
11 years. Oh, man, I ripped you out of a year, which is a lot of money. I mean, 11 years in the National Football.
In the grand scheme of retirement, it is a little bit more money, actually. In the grand scheme of it, it's going to be good.
What is an Alabama guy doing out in Seattle, man?
Well, I got invited by my old teammate Lance Moore with the New Orleans Saints.
Sure.
He had a guy's trip. He invited me out here, so I came out here. And then my brother lives out here, so it's a good excuse to come out here and see him and my niece. And so we're going to go, him and his boys, every year they go to a football game. So this week we're going to the Oregon versus Washington game in Husky Stadium. Sean Williams, the running back from Alabama, is on the Oregon staff. So I'll see him tonight at the hotel, and he got me some tickets, so I'm excited.
Man, that is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, and we do keep up with Rashad, young man that transferred out of Texas Tech and doing great things.
Came in my class.
He did, yes. And number 21, man, he was a great running back here, man. Great running back.
He was. Back when Alabama was not as dominant and as great as they are now, so it's been great.
Yeah, but, you look back, and I know that we went through Nick Saban's success, but you guys had some great defensive players. I mean, offensive players too, but, I look back at you and D'Amico and, Freddie Roach is coaching in Ole Miss. I saw him a couple of weeks ago on the field of Bryant-Denny Stadium, and you look back, Anthony Madison played a long time in the NFL. I mean, you guys had a lot of players that went on to play in the National Football League too, man.
We did, man, especially defensively. The biggest thing now is, offensively, there's so much more explosion. We could not score the ball. We were not as good and as big as they are up front as well. So you just look at those things. I think that was just the biggest thing. And then you saw that. When we played LSU, they were bigger than us. And that's what Nick Kaiser recruits. But, yes, defensively, we had some ballers out there, man. I love the way we came in. Mark Anderson was another guy who actually came in and made some really good plays in the NFL. He's up for Rookie of the Year. He finished right behind D'Amico, actually. So who actually won Rookie of the Year defensively that year, rookie year. So it's kind of crazy that we all had our own passes and we all kind of made it out there, man. It was just really cool. It's been great to see us all grow up.
No doubt.
How we're all doing now. Because we all still keep up in touch with each other. I talk to Freddie all the time. When I ever see D'Amico, I talk to him. So Anthony Madison is doing great. Lives in outside of, guys. He lives in the valley out there in California. So it's really good. Everybody talks to each other.
Yes, absolutely. And, hey, Roman, I want to go back. This week, we've been doing favorite plays in Tennessee, Alabama history, and your play from 2005 comes up so often. Can you kind of walk us through that? I mean, kind of walk us through from a player perspective of that dynamic punch out and that fumble, and, I mean, all of us celebrating because we didn't beat Tennessee 12. We kind of struggled with them a little bit, but 2005 was a great year for Alabama.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, it kind of made me – it, put me up in the history of Alabama. I was an okay, decent player, and then when I did that, that's what people always remember me for. It's kind of crazy because I hear about it all the time. But I got to lead off by saying I thought the guy ran me over, actually. So, the screenplay, he was a really big fullback. They ran that play early in the game and had success in it. So, of course, they run it again. It was a great play call, set up in the right time and everything. And I just saw him coming through a hole, and I just wanted to shoot at him. I just wanted to throw everything I had at him because I knew he was right there in front of the goal line. So I just dove and just tried to get a piece of him. And then next thing you know, I heard the crowd going crazy. I thought Tennessee, because, that was right there in that end zone. Tennessee fans are right there close. So I just heard everybody get loud. I didn't know what happened. I thought he actually ran me over and scored. And then I looked up, and everybody was celebrating. And I just started celebrating, too, because I didn't know what happened. And then they said he fumbled. And I got to the sideline, and I asked Anthony Madison, I said, who knocked it out? He's like, I don't know. And I was like, I don't know either, man. It was crazy, though. And then we looked up there on the Jumbotron, and we saw it was me. He's like, dude, we did that. And then he said that's going to be one of those paintings.
Sure. Daniel Moore. Daniel Moore paintings.
Daniel Moore paintings. He said that right there on the sideline. It turned out he couldn't have been more wrong. It happened later on, so it was kind of crazy.
Roman
That
Harper.
was my perspective.
Roman Harper had 302 tackles, 5 interceptions, 5 forced fumbles, but no bigger one than that because, I almost feel if Tennessee would have got it in that day, we were not having a lot of success on the other side of the football. Obviously, they had something to do with that with their great defense, but that was it was a game winning. It was just, it was a lot of fun, a lot of reaction, and it was a celebration of that moment. I can just recall it almost in my head.
Because you said that was your story. I want to hear your story. I didn't get to hear yours.
Oh, Roman, I'm so embarrassed to tell you. Can I? Okay, all right. So can I tell you the story?
Please.
Okay, all right. So I told this story earlier this week on the air, and I'm embarrassed. Okay. Okay. No. Trust me. Okay, because I was working with you guys in the athletic department with Crimson Tradition. I did the website. I'd interview you guys, and was always a lot of fun. And I went out after the game, and I was in a friend of mine's back of his pickup truck. Okay. Okay. After this win, this is what beating Tennessee means, and I tried to explain. Make a long story short.
I hate them.
Yeah, me too. I flipped out of the back of the truck on an accident, landed on my head in University Boulevard, and ended up in the emergency room. No concussion, no broken skull. But that's what beating Tennessee meant to us back in 2005. So that was always one of my best memories of the third Saturday of October.
And I'm so glad you weren't concussed, so you actually remember. I got it. I didn't. But bringing me back to that moment is so good. Look, I remember how I felt when I got to go out in Tuscaloosa after that game, or what happened in class when I went to my next English class 2 weeks later. They gave me a standing ovation, and they were like, "We've been waiting on you to come to class to give you that because we're so happy and so proud of the play you made." So that's Alabama in a nutshell.
Yes, but the only thing, and I told the audience earlier, that was the one time I don't drink. But I wish that I could have claimed alcohol as an excuse. But I didn't have a rebuttal. Other than I was just celebrating Alabama's victory. So this is the way I said it earlier this week. I blame Roman Harper for me flipping out of the back of the truck.
Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
Roman, let me go back to the following Alabama's victory over Tennessee in any time. What's that locker room like as you guys celebrate those special moments when you beat Tennessee and that fraternity, that brotherhood that Alabama players share following a Tennessee victory or Alabama victory over Tennessee?
Well, it's the tradition of beating them. And you understand that all the great people and the things that have been done before you, that it's part of the tradition to have the cigars and all that other things. What it's about, right? It gives it purpose. It gives it meaning. All right, it's the reason why they play this game on the third Saturday of October every year. It's part of what we do. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. And you're just not supposed to look, when I was there, Philip Former, I was there during the rough times when we had all these other things and we had the sanctions and all that other stuff. So I personally have a different feeling towards Tennessee, but the winning in the locker room afterward, there's no better feeling. Just beating a normal rivalry team, no matter who it is. And look, I can't help it that Tennessee's falling off the wagon and they're not as good as who they used to be. But it still feels good to beat them, and knowing that we can dominate them and just get it done every year now feels even better for me.
All right, so let me text this. I'll give you a little bit of a data here. 4,745 days since the last time Tennessee has beaten the University of Alabama. That's awesome.
It'll be another 365, I hope, after this Saturday.
No doubt. Hey, Roman, let me get your perspective because we look at Tua Tagovailoa and all these wide receivers. You're a defensive back. When you look at all these wide receivers and you look at what Tua's doing from an offensive standpoint, I'm curious what you see from a defensive back perspective.
In all honesty, I think Tua is one of the best quarterbacks. He's one of the most natural throwers of the ball. He throws it easy, very catchable ball. There's no concern. This guy's a top-tier pick in the NFL draft. And only concern you would have is his arm strength. But he throws the ball he is so accurate, and he is, he anticipates all his throws and throws people open. And then you have these receivers. I think it's the top 4 receivers I've ever seen on the college team, all at one time, I think, in the history. And I hate being that guy, but you look at these guys, they are tremendously good players. And You know, Jerry Jeudy presents a certain amount of problems. Probably the best receiver in college football. Then you got Devontae Smith, who just makes plays. This guy is just coming to another level this year. All right, so that's another guy. Then you got Ruggs, who's super freakishly athletic and can go run as faster than anybody. And look, the most impressive thing I saw him do was the between the legs dunk that him and Devontae Smith did this past week. With their celebrations after a couple touchdowns. That was just amazing to be that athletic, to be able to jump that high. And then you got Waddell. I mean, then, you know, they got young guys they can't even get the ball to right now because they're so talented. It's just amazing to watch and see them. I don't know how. I like the ability to be able to score the way this Alabama team is. Everybody looks at Alabama. We always talk about their defense, but offensively this year is how they're going to win games. And I like their chances versus any shootout versus any team in college football right now.
Roman, you've had a chance to go up against Julio Jones. What do you have to do to defend Julio Jones?
Usually have more than one person around him at all times. And also you need to go hit the quarterback. You hit the quarterback, he can't get it out there to him. So those two things in combination, that's what I would say. But one-on-one, you can't really stop Julio Jones. He's one of those guys that he's so big, he's so fast, he's so athletic, he's so talented that, one person, especially with the NFL rules where you can't touch receivers, you cannot stop a guy like Julio Jones. What it has to be a combination of a defensive call, which we put one or two guys close to him, and then going to hit the quarterback as well.
Roman, I could ask you a million questions about the RPO. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to ask you about targeting in the NFL, targeting in college football. Can you walk us through this? This will be the final question. We're talking to Roman Harper, 11-year NFL veteran, former University of Alabama guy, Super Bowl champion, a guy that has a chance to help us recall some Alabama history. From a targeting standpoint, what goes through a mind of a defensive back when there's only so much of a window that you can actually hit a player? I mean, how does that impact the game?
It really messes it up. I mean, I just don't know what guys are supposed to do if they continue to make these rules. Certainly, look, I played through a game in the NFL where they started making them targeting rules. So you had to lower your area of space, where you had to hit guys, this, that, and the other. And most of these wide receivers and tight ends that we're hitting are bigger than us. Look, I understand trying to keep the helmet out of the game. And I think the intent is another big rule in this. I don't like targeting calls when guys are going for the ball because I have the same right as a receiver for the ball. If I am looking at the ball, I'm making the play on the ball as my helmet hits his helmet. I mean, we have helmets on for a reason. But, I understand that, and it's hard for these referees because they don't see intent. It's just black and white how they have to call it. I just hate the rule that, you have to throw guys out in college because they're not even professional athletes or professional football players. So when they get called for it, I just think it's unfortunate sometimes. And I just hate it because now the moment a receiver kind of gets hurt or doesn't get up fast, everybody wants to throw a penalty or think it should be some kind of targeting or hit on a defenseless guy. I mean, it is a physical sport. So I don't want all these rules to change the game that I love as well. So it's a really hard debate for me to kind of go into because I do understand the player safety aspect of it. But some of these things you sign up for when you put on the pads, when you go to war in between those white lines.
Roman, where are you living at now? Are you living back in Alabama? Are you back in New Orleans or Carolina? Where do you make home at?
Yeah, man. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, man. It's pretty cool. I still have an Alabama driver's license. Don't tell everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I got to. But it's okay though because I own some property in Alabama.
Sure,
yes,
absolutely. We give you a lifetime member of when you make a play like that against Tennessee. We don't care if you ever change your Alabama license. We're always proud to call Roman Harper a part of this family.
I appreciate it, man. I still get to get home to Prattville, Alabama, too, back home. So it's still good. But yes, my wife and my family, my kids. I'm married with 3 kids, 2 daughters, and a son. So London, Sydney, and Roman the second.
Awesome.
And, yeah, they're good. 7, 5, and 3. They're all kids.
Well, listen, Roman, it's great to be able to catch up with you, man, and talk some Alabama Crimson Tide football, man. Enjoy your time and certainly tell all those guys, Rashad, certainly we're thinking about him and Lance and all those guys. I mean, it's good to see you guys all having continued success post-football, man. Thank you again for being a part of the show.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man. You guys take it easy. Everybody follow me at Harp41 on Twitter, Harp_41 on Instagram. Appreciate it. And roll tide.